discussion about the sectional draw for the boys basketball team because Avi they drew the bye for the second consecutive year. Um, Definitely an interesting an interesting draw there, but it's great. It means they only have to win two games to win the sectional, and the first one will be against either Arsenal Tech or much more likely Christmas Addicts.
It's definitely going to be Christmas Addicts as they are in the weekly top 20 boy IBCH poll, which is the name of Indiana Basketball Coaches poll, and they're number 11 so far in the state. And Greg Rexhaw, as you and I both know from WJL, he is one of Indiana's best sports broadcasters. He said this sectional is the sectional of doom because it's A, the hardest, and B, all the top teams are in this sectional.
Yep, definitely the hard sectional. I agree. It's like that almost every year, but this year especially, there's just so many good teams. Panthers even kind of got lucky because I mean, you said Christmas Addicts is really good, but I think the top three teams in the sectional are all on the other side of the bracket. So Lawrence North, Warren Central, and Cathedral, all really, really strong teams. They will fight each other out along with Lawrence Central before playing the Panthers. For some reference, and these were both earlier season games, but for some history for the Panthers against these teams, they played they played Arsenal Tech the first game of the regular season and destroyed them 91-55. Christmas Addicts was a different story, a very well fought contest, but the Panthers falling 65-61. So Avi, I think this proves that they definitely can beat this Addicts team. I mean, they definitely have a shot, and really they have pretty much have a shot at beating any one team in this section. They have so much potential with Leland Walker back there.
Yes, we do. The losses that we have, Christmas Addicts, I'm not going to say the player's name, but they know who they are. If that person doesn't inbound the basketball, we will win the game. And then against Lawrence North, we lost twice because we blew both leads. That's it's just true. It is what it is. So we lost to Lawrence North twice at Lawrence North, which is a pain in the stomach. And then one, which we absolutely got blown out. But we can definitely compete. I will say that.
So Lawrence North probably considered to be the best team in this sectional, but do you actually want to draw them, or not draw them, but to play them in that sectional championship if you're the Panthers, if you do end up beating Christmas Addicts? Because as you said, those games were a lot closer than some of the ones against the other teams. I mean, they lost to Lawrence Central 91-76. They lost to Warren 85-60, so two 15-point defeats there. And then you're right, LN 65-59 and 64-60, so both really, really close ones. And then Cathedral is a team that they have not faced so far. I feel like I said a wrong team in there somewhere, Avi, but the four on the other side of the bracket are Cathedral, Lawrence North, Warren Central, and Lawrence Central. There's your four.
And we did play Lawrence Central, I would say, and we did lose to them, which was shocking, I would say, because you were on the call. And I was like, there's no way. And I was like, wow, they actually lost. And speaking of one shot, the only two teams that they've lost to, I don't remember who the first one was. I remember it was Carmel, and they're number 2 in the state, and Greg Rexhaw also said that section was pretty tough too, but I don't think, not as compared to this section. If North Central gets out of this will be Jason Gardner's best coaching by far if they get out of this section alive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, big underdogs, but they do have a shot, and it would take a lot of things to get out of it. But Panthers doing well right now. They're pretty hot. They lost 2 straight, bridging the end of January and beginning of February, but since then have won 4 consecutive games, and not against bad teams either. Beating Pike and Center Grove, beating Garrett Catholic and let's try that again. Beating Garrett Catholic and Pike were their first 2 wins. Those against probably slightly easier teams, but then beating Center Grove on a last-minute comeback. Mike Elliott having the game-winning 3-point shot and then a steal and score with, I want to say, under 4 seconds. Maybe between, it was between 4 and 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was around 4.
And then beating Fort Wayne Carroll up in Fort Wayne on Saturday morning. So by far their longest win streak of the season, and I'll be one last game for them against another good team, Fishers at home on February 23rd, their regular season finale. If they can win that one, they would have some serious momentum going into that state tournament.
All three teams that you just said, Center Grove, Fort Wayne Carroll, and Fishers are all in the top 20 in this coaches pool. They have Fishers at 17, Center Grove at 18, and Fort Wayne Carroll at 20. So North Central for the last three games has done some pretty serious damage to three really good teams.
So Leland Walker doing Leland Walker things, averaging over 20 points per game this season. Very similar numbers to what he put up last year. But some other people that I think we've discussed them before on here, but I want to reiterate some. Quentin Boyd and Shiloh Jackson down low, kind of trading some time, both kind of sharing some time at center. They don't play together too often, but whichever one's out there, they definitely bring you some good things. Jackson with some great defense inside, and Boyd with really a lot of offense. He can definitely score down low, gives you a legit threat down low. Great on the boards as well. So that's been a big addition to the team. And then obviously the other person I want to say is B.J. Williams, starting this year after actually barely getting any playing time last year, but starting as a senior throughout the whole season. And he's put up the third most points per game at 8.6. A very consistent scorer and a really, really good player for North Central.
And someone else I don't think you mentioned was Joey Brown. He's also been in that starting lineup as well for the final stretch of the season. It's really been him and Quentin Boyd. And I believe Joey's playing that center role. So it's really Joey Brown, Quentin Boyd, and Shiloh Jackson really trading off spots. And it's really worked for the final home stretch of these games. And we'll see if they do that against Fishers at home.
Yeah, so usually I ask you this, Avi, but I have an opinion on this myself, so I'll go ahead and discuss it. I was going to ask you what the keys are to winning whatever game they play, winning against a good team, assuming that Attucks does win that first sectional game. But I'm going to say I think really Leland Walker just needs to start hitting threes because he does so much well and he's been playing fine, but I think last season we saw how much he could hit that three, from way outside, from open, from inside, or contested. It didn't really matter that sometimes he could, he was a threat from all over the court. And this year, or at least, in the recent games, not that he's been bad. He's definitely hit some threes, but it just feels like he's not quite as dominant of a threat from out there as before. And I think if he can just get that going in the postseason, which he has time to do so. I mean, the tournament doesn't start until, I want to say March, hold up, March
it starts again. We don't play till March 5th, I believe.
Yes, that is correct. I'm looking at my calendar up here. You said it starts on March 2nd, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Tuesday, March 2nd. And then, Panthers have until March 5th to get healthy and get prepared for that game. Any other keys that you want to mention for that first sectional game, Avi?
I really want to see Mike help Leland with the scoring balance because we know what he definitely showed that against Center Grove. So I want to see if he can help Leland in that scoring balance because we know what Joey Brown can do. We know what Quentin Boyd can do. We know what Shiloh can do defensively and also offensively, but more really defensively. We know what BJ can do. Can Mike Elliott be number 2 to Leland Walker, who is Batman? And can Mike
Elliott? Yeah, I think Elliott definitely is number 2. He's averaged 12.5 points per game, which is really good mark and is actually much higher than the third place on the team. So he's done a good job with that, but I agree he has to keep it up for this postseason run. Any other thoughts, Avi? I'm ready to wrap up, but I don't know about you.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the final game of the season, for the regular season. I'm ready for tournament time, baby.
Yep, Sean and Max Gavovich will have the call for the final game, which will be tomorrow on Tuesday. And then Max Gabovich, Avi Sharkar right here, and I will have the call for the sectional game on, again, March the 5th. So, tune in, and thank you again for listening and watching to NCHS Live, and I'll see you next time.